Okay, so welcome to this week's Beanstalk DAO meeting. Obviously, light crowd, so should be relatively quick to work through stuff. As always, if anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know. Um, I'll kick off and run through the slides quick. So, big items up front. So, we've got wstETH, Multiflow version 1.1, and the miscellaneous improvements package. They started their pre-BIP, or they will be starting their pre-BIP discussions soon. Beanstalk 3 is currently in its judging phase with CodeHawks. Any questions there? And I just found that typo that keeps reappearing. I'll republish the deck as soon as we're done. All right. So for projects and initiatives, not a whole lot of big changes. We've got some items that I've updated up top that are above the funnel. So just looking through some of the Beanstalk ideas in that channel on Discord. Added unripe exit auctions, so the pruning concept, pod burning mechanism, also called compost. We've had fungible pods on the list for a while. Down at the top of the funnel, there's been continued discussion around debt restructuring, and then bottom of the funnel, things that are just on the edge of active development. In heavy conversation still are the unripe stock burn, basin stable swap, blacklist mitigation, and L2 migration. Any questions there? Okay, we'll jump down into the schedule. So as I mentioned in the big items up front slide, we've got wstETH migration. So now in the week of July 8th, we are ready for that draft BIP to be shared with near final code, and that's probably going to be happening sometime this week. Looking forward to seeing what's going to be there. Got really good feedback from the CodeHawks team during the CodeHawks competition, so not any major concerns that I'm aware of at this point from a technical standpoint, and I think everybody's pretty familiar with the wstETH approach and concept, so no need to necessarily rehash it a lot here, but we'll take any questions if anyone has any. Okay, Multiflow version 1.1. So kind of a similar situation here. We already know what's going on. It's going to be part of the wstETH migration, really the implementation of that wstETH well. So that will have Multiflow version 1.1, that pump as part of its implementation. The other nice thing is that we'll make version 1.1 available for any other pump or for any other well implementation that folks are looking at. CB and I just had this conversation here a few days ago about, likely to see quite a few of the current wells potentially see essentially, let's say, sister wells that have similar asset pairings but have the updated pump. So looking forward to seeing that. Again, willing to take any questions, but I think we're pretty well lined up on what's going on with version 1.1. All right, miscellaneous improvements. So again, we're similar to the wstETH migration, kind of the point where everything is squared away from a CodeHawk standpoint and ready to share some final information about that BIP and get it ready for vote coming up here over the next couple weeks. And then Beanstalk 3, obviously a lot of stuff included in this, and we've gone over an explanation for what's going on a handful of times. Not really much new to share here. They are in the judging phase for the CodeHawks audit. So that has been going well, and there's been a lot of really good discussion, a lot of questions being asked from the CodeHawks team. Again, nothing that seems to me as being an issue or problem, but lots of questions being asked and lots of good conversation through that audit competition. Again, looking forward to actually that schedule has been pulled in. So there was the last DAO meeting we had that stretched out. It was actually pushing into early September. But talking with Guy and looking at some of the information, looks like we pulled that back into mid-August. So excited to see that come back in a couple weeks. Again, willing to take any questions on Beanstalk 3 as well. Ed Ramiro, I see you typing. There is a lot of work being done, and the team is very talented. And there's a lot of work. As for getting traction and getting, I don't know if publicity is the right word to use or however you want to put it. I think a lot of that comes back to the idea of what exactly should the message be what is the right way to to talk about Beanstalk in the public forum? And I think the main concern the team has right now is just building a really good ecosystem, really good set of tech, and hoping that as those new features and functions, as those new opportunities continue to roll out, hopefully, there's market opportunity that comes along with that. We've been watching the price of ETH kind of be all over the place, and obviously that's tough for the DeFi space in general. Yeah, what goes through my mind a lot is as we get multi-flow 1.1 in place, we get a lot of these new sister wells spun up for these existing pairs that we've had on Basin, and then as whitelisting starts to happen, there's a lot of opportunity to potentially attract new participants. So we'll see how it goes. So to answer your second question, are we delaying marketing until the product is done? No. The approach to marketing is not an easy one. We're trying to avoid this idea of being shilly or not careful with how we talk about Beanstalk in public spaces. So that creates something of a challenge. I think there's also a lot of opportunity just for the community to get involved in those discussions and getting the word out. So yeah, I think for now, I mean the team's primary goal is to make sure the product is really good and hopefully good enough to where there can be a lot of organic discussion that avoids some of the difficulties that come with more formalized marketing, especially in the crypto space.
Sorry, do you mind if I turn to the mic?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, I was just wondering because it's a bit weird to see such little traction on such a good project. I mean, I'm a developer as well. I know I've seen the code base. It's really really good, and I know the talent behind the code is. I know they're awesome. I mean, I can judge that for myself. And I've seen pretty much everyone has their own stablecoin, right? Pretty much any other project out there. I mean, there's I don't know how many stablecoins. I keep discovering new ones every day, and they're all pretty much the same forks from I don't know, Liquidity, USDT. Well, DAI, whatever. But I mean, and they do really, how should I say this, guerrilla marketing, if you will, and they do get quite a lot of traction. I mean, there's very odd projects getting millions upon millions of dollars poured into them, and Beanstalk being such a good project with such a different approach to the stablecoin problem, it's barely getting noticed by anyone other than the ones already in it, right? I don't know. It's just not really a question, just pouring my.
I think it's no. I think it's a fair observation. The way that I have put it before is, and this is speaking strictly for myself, of course. When I think of Beanstalk, I think of an economy. And there's a difference between and the projects you're referring to that seem to be popping up every day. It seems like a lot of times those projects are marketed as a product. It's, hey, I've got this new product I want to tell you about, and if you invest in it, then you're gonna make a whole bunch of money, or they're those teams are framing that token as a product. And I would say that from where I sit, I see Beanstalk as an economy, and it's a different approach or different. You can't really market an economy. It's a different scenario, and I understand what you're saying, though. I want to be perfectly clear that I get what you're saying, and I would love for Beanstalk to get a lot of really good attention. And I guess what I'll say too, again from personal observation, is having seen some of the cycles that Beanstalk has gone through, it doesn't take much when the pieces start to come together. When price is above one, and the protocols is in print, it doesn't take a whole lot to start to see folks take notice again. And so, I obviously, we're in a place where ETH isn't in a great spot for price. The Bean price is, has been below peg for a little while, and it's hard to get a lot of organic traction, or guerrilla conversations or marketing, or however you want to frame it. But when I look at the project, I think of something really solid being built, and when those conditions line up, I think it'll be surprising how good the feedback in the conversations will become. But the most important thing is making sure that the project is really excellent, is really top tier, and it's not just some random stable coin that's like you said, a fork of Liquidity or USDT or USDC or whatever. Trying to make the protocol as good as possible, and then letting the conversations take care of themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. But again, it needs someone to kickstart that conversation, right? I mean, the product is already awesome. It will never be perfect, but it's, right now it's as close as it can get. Keep getting closer to getting as good as it can get. Sorry for the the words a lot there.
No,
But
no.
it's already, at least to my judgment, it's already better than anything that's out there. I don't know why. I don't know. It just baffles me why people don't pay more attention to it. Why it's being so undervalued at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't care about peg right now. It would only take, I don't know, not too much money. But as you said, we're very close to peg, and only, I don't know, just a handful of people talking about it will get us there. And I don't know I don't know what price of ETH we need right now to get to peg, without any activity on behalf of the farmers. On behalf, no, I mean, coming from the farmer. But it just baffles me why
Yeah.
people are not paying
Again,
more attention to it.
yeah, I think that is perfectly fair. And I think about some of the cycles that Beanstalk has been through. That when the first major, there were a handful of upswing cycles, however you want to frame it. And like the chatter was fantastic, and then again, leading right up to the exploit, I mean, there was so much good, um, you know, just positive feedback and conversation. Again, speaking personally, I'm very confident that because of the quality of the project, those conversations will happen again. I completely understand what you're saying. Completely agree. I wish there was an easy button to get that chatter going again, but I think it'll happen. The biggest thing in my mind is just making sure that the protocol is really ready. There we go. Thanks for mentioning that you lost me, because I did not know. Anyway, yeah, in my mind, it's all about making sure that as many functions and features are ready to go, and that the protocol is as solid as possible. And after that, relying on the community and others to make that chatter happen. So I didn't have any other. I mean, I've got the rest of the deck, but after Beanstalk 3, it's just it's the request for updates from like the UI folks or from Subgraph, and I don't see anybody on that from those groups on this call. So I guess, I mean, I can open up for any other questions, and otherwise we can cut folks loose. For what it's worth, I may actually schedule another one of these here in a week or so off schedule, because uh, um, I do want to make sure that we have a chance to hear from the dev team as well. And yeah, it just looks like we didn't get anybody at this period. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. Yeah, Ed Ramiro, good to have you. And yeah, we will. I think we may schedule one kind of off cycle. Yeah, maybe for next week. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you loose. You too. Have a good day.